I want to take us back for a moment to some points that Mark brought up earlier as we were looking at some of these factors that are transforming the industry. And this story I'm going to cover off will highlight some of those for you, show you how we're applying them. So my name's Shon Wedde. I'm a senior director in the product management organization for the CX apps team. We don't need a safe harbor. We already covered that earlier. I've been very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with Yamaha on a co-innovation initiative. We talked earlier about how do you take things from the technology perspective and figure out how do you apply them to the business need. We worked very closely with Yamaha, and it was a very successful outcome from this. I'm going to share a couple different aspects. The bottom line is you have to be able to have something to shoot for in the future. And I'm going to cover a number of different technologies as I go through the content. In the innovation space, I'm working with IoT, augmented reality, machine learning, predictive analytics, conversational voice, and robotics. Those are the common areas that myself and my team focus on with our customers. And we're looking at how we can take those technologies and build out on our product portfolio. And of course, co-innovation really helps with that. The thing that is most important, I think, in the future is all of these are going to converge together at some point, and we actually used almost every one except for robotics in the Yamaha story. So who's Yamaha? I suspect everyone here has heard of Yamaha. You probably have Yamaha products in your home. On one side, we have Yamaha, the corporation, which is musical instruments and electronics. On the other side, we have Yamaha, who is a leader in the power sports industry. I would have been happy to work with either of these technologies. I think they make great products, consumer products. And we actually worked with a team out of Southern California, just outside of LA. That team's focused on the power sport industry. The item that we decided to focus on for this innovation project was the Yamaha YZ 450 motocross bike. This is a very high-end bike, high-performance racing machine. And I'll explain what Yamaha recently did with that bike. Before I dive into that part, Glenn Coles at Yamaha was our sponsor for the co-innovation project. Glenn's the general manager and CEO at Yamaha Motors. And Glenn has an interesting background. He actually started out as a competitive racer when he was young. And he always dreamed of entering the power sport industry through the racing team. I'm sure you've seen these guys on YouTube videos, right? As it turns out, it didn't quite work out that way for Glenn. He ended up entering through IT. Not sure how he got there, but IT was his path into motorsports. But that helped because Glenn was able to bring experience with him. He had ridden the bike. He knew what it was like to tune the bike, to race, and to work with manufacturers. So in his role, he was looking at how he could change Yamaha. And one day, he and his account manager, Nick Burton, were in Glenn's office, and they were working through what does the future look like for Yamaha? The industry's changing, their market is changing. And they wanted to change the consumer and dealer experience. Well, after a couple hours, they eventually came up with all these things they wanted to do, and they labeled it the mind-blowing experience. I'm sure a few of you have those. And no one can tell it better than Glenn and his team. So I'm going to actually play a quick video here. You can hear directly from the Yamaha team what they're trying to achieve. Can you roll the video, please?
Yamaha's philosophy is condo, creating a lifetime of experiences through quality and performance of the products.
Bringing a sense of happiness, excitement, whatever stage of life you're in.
When I'm on a Yamaha product, it means reliability. It means I can have confidence in my machine that it's going to operate the way I want it to every time I'm out there.
In order to deliver an exciting and memorable experience on our products, we have to go above and beyond by infusing our current products with newer technology.
Now that I have my 2018 YZ450F, I'm the only guy at the track that's actually dialing into my bike with my phone. That's something that nobody else has in the market.
Every edge that you can get on the competition is significant. If you can average half a second or a second quicker on lap time, that can make all the difference between being on the podium and not.
There's a new generation of buyers coming down the market, and their expectation of an experience is different than any other generation before them.
We're looking at what's our roadmap going to be for technology. Oracle has helped us in setting up proof of concepts that show how we could take technology and really make a difference for our users.
We've partnered with Oracle to consolidate and cleanse our customer data. Now we're able to collect a clean, standardized, easy to share customer database, a one-stop shop to be able to look at all of our customers throughout our product segment.
We're leveraging technology in a different way so that you can create those lifetime experiences.
So great video, and I'm going to dive into a couple key areas here and highlight them for you. First, you'll notice the guy was dialed into his motorcycle. Yamaha is the only one that has a motocross bike on the market today that has a mobile app matched up to it. The motorcycle gives off a Wi-Fi signal, and when you're close to the motorcycle, you can actually pick up the telemetry data. Not only that, you can communicate bi-directionally. And as was mentioned in the video, this is critical because there's a whole new generation of users. And I'm not going to say Gen Z. I think it's more about people adopting technology. Those who adopt it openly are going to be looking for these capabilities. The 2018 was the first bike in market with this capability, and their 2019 is now hitting the market. No one else has this yet, and there's a lot of great posts out there on why people like this. You no longer have to take an analyzer or worse, a toolbox to the track. You can literally just open up your phone and modify the configuration of the bike for the terrain that you're riding on. And there are a number of other features here that they added to that experience. So given they'd already made some investments in the consumer side of the product, Yamaha said, or Glenn said, let's focus on the dealer network. We have some real challenges there. We need to increase our speed of communications. We need better content. We need to be able to push that content out quickly. And we need to be able to engage with the dealers. So they're looking at things like chat and co-browse. The other thing we need to do is we need to move to the cloud. Today, Yamaha was at that time, in April of 2017, they were primarily all on-premise, and they were happy with it. But they needed to disrupt what they were doing internally. So they said, let's move to the cloud because we need to move faster. So Glenn and Nick got together, identified some resources for a co-innovation team. Nick came back to Oracle, eventually got in touch with me, and we pulled together some people just focused on innovation on top of Oracle's portfolio. This included meeting with Yamaha and understanding how they wanted to transform their business. What were those high-value use cases? Who are people we could speak with to extract real knowledge about how the dealers work today and how they would accept working in the future? And most important, how would Yamaha need to change? And ultimately, through a set of workflows that we prototyped, we came up with what you could potentially do today and what you could do in a POC down the road. Because Yamaha wanted to look 3 to 5 years down the road at this transformation they were going to go through. So what does that mind-blowing dealer experience look like? Well, first of all, we identified that there are 2 tracks. When you work with a dealer, you have to be able to help them understand the piece of equipment they're standing in front of. So we said, well, what type of technology down the road could help with this? And we selected augmented reality as the primary user interaction model. We believe that mobile, menuing, web applications will be gone in 3 to 5 years, and the primary interface will be AR and VR. So under that, we started to build out integrations in an AR environment that pull on all of that great data they have in their systems. Those are cloud systems from Oracle and back office systems. So here we can actually see the Yamaha bike with some asset data coming over top. We pulled in IoT data that's coming off the bike, the Wi-Fi data. We looked at their technical bulletins that they were pushing out by paper or email, and we said, let's merge those into the experience. We also used image recognition and a machine learning system so that when you look at the bike, either through your phone or a headset, it immediately recognizes the make and model of the bike. In fact, you can even get down to the unique identifier at the serial number level and pull forward the relative content specific to that bike. And then we looked at all of the manuals and documents they had out there for the core bike plus the add-ons. And we integrated all of them into the AR experience. The next thing we did is we focused on how do we help the technicians resolve the problems they're facing. A technician may work on a bike only once a year, right? So we took the intellectual property that Yamaha has in their CAD drawings, and we converted that to 3D objects in an AR world. And we allowed the technicians to now overlay augmented reality components on top of the physical bike. So you're standing in front of the bike, you can hold up your phone or a headset and actually overlay and interact with all of those components, in this case, the electrical system. We also integrated a workflow using a product we have in the Oracle CX portfolio called Oracle Policy Automation. And this actually guides the person through steps. We did some training steps, and then we also did resolution steps, or steps they could follow as they actually interacted with the parts of the bike. And here we actually see panels coming off the bike. We went a little bit further. We believe that when you get into augmented reality, you're going to see a big shift from headsets, to headsets. Technology like this from Vuzix or this from Microsoft, where you can actually move into an immersive experience instead of just overlaying some data. So you can actually put on the Microsoft headset and you can walk right inside the three-dimensional bike and see all 2,200 plus parts that make up that bike. So looking at it from the perspective where we have Oracle components and personas, on the right here we have Oracle's applications and platform. As well, Oracle delivers some really neat channels like social, email, chat, video chat. We said, how can we take all of these technologies and integrate them into that AR experience? And we want to look at the three primary personas that have been identified. The top one, the consumer. Again, if we're going to make investments up front, today, we want to make sure that down the road, when we put our focus off the dealer and back onto the consumer, we can reuse some of the content and the assets that were created. So we don't want to forget that consumer. The dealer technicians, we want to make sure that they have the ability to leverage that content I just showed earlier. Again, for the consumer and the dealer, they end up standing in front of the physical object, so they can very easily overlay that rich data on top of it. But we identified one more persona that was really important in this picture, and that is the person who works remote. This could be a trainer, a dealer tech that works for Yamaha, an engineer at Yamaha. They need to be able to enter the experience as well. So we took all of the rich data that we had in the drawings and those 3D objects that we created in augmented reality, and we created a digital twin, which consists of data and the 3D objects. The nice part here is I can actually pass that 3D object to someone who's remote, or they can join me collaboratively in an AR experience in 3D space. We set some success measures along the way. In the near term, Yamaha is looking at reducing their dealer costs, increasing the use of some new channels like chat and co-browse, and creating very rich content that can be reused over and over. In the longer term, under the art of the possible, we looked at augmented reality and another component called See What I Can See, where someone who's remote can join into the experience. I'll touch on the stage investments. In 2017, as I mentioned, they were on-premise. They were very happy with it. They're currently rolling out service and some new channels today, like co-browse and chat. And we're continuing to work with Yamaha on how augmented reality and that POC is transforming. And that's because they went back into their organization and they're looking at all those things that Mark mentioned earlier. How do we change the company to ensure we get to this point where we can deliver what's in the POC? So with that, I only have one real question that remains. That question is, how can we at Oracle help you achieve your business transformation goals? Thank you.